not in the prairies. Good morning, everyone. We're not in the prairies. You know what that means? Something happened yesterday to prevent us from getting to the prairies. We got a bit of a late start. We violated our hours of service and still didn't get to the prairies. So we came up to Kootenay Pass, which we're going down right now. Making really good time on the Kootenay Pass. It's beautiful. No moon out, no clouds. Stars were just absolutely vibrant. It was just absolutely beautiful night. Except for one little problem. It melted a lot during the day. And they did a really good job of clearing off all the snow on the road. So all that was left was a wet road during the day. Which meant at night it became solid ice. Chain-up lights were on. I was actually making good progress. I have really good winter ice tires that grab really good. Good momentum, but the chain-up lights were on. So I pulled over, chained up, and that was it. I could not get momentum back. Second gear going up at 2 kilometers per hour. And I just couldn't get going faster than that. Kept climbing, took an hour and hour and a half about to get almost to the top. And then I spun out. Well, no, I lost the chain. The chain fell off because I'm spinning the whole way, right? I'm spinning with chains on. Yeah, 2 kilometers an hour. I said that. And so the links start failing on the chains. Kept digging, and it's like all of a sudden there goes one chain. Oh, there goes another chain. There goes a third chain, and one chain could just not keep us moving. We were spun out at the steepest section near the top. Chained up again. I have all those spare chains, right? Peeled it, like when the chains came off, they actually wrapped themselves around the axle. It wasn't hard taking them off of there. It was pretty easy to just unlatch them and take them off. I chained up with the spare chains, and there was no way of getting going again. I was stopped, fully chained up, could not get moving. So I sent a message, told them where I was, what happened. Upshift. Told him I need a tow truck up to pull me the rest of the way up. Scrap King came out, tow company, local tow company here for Kootenay Pass. Yeah, it took him a while. He was down in Creston, so he had to climb all the way up to the top where I was. No way of turning around where I was, so he had to go down the hill to the chain up, and then come back up. And then he hooked onto me. I was fully chained up again. He is fully chained up, both axles fully chained up. So we now have 4 axles of chains pulling. Man, did we dig. On the radio every now and then, he just goes, "Are you in it?" I'm like, "I have full throttle. We are spinning as much as this truck can spin." He was spitting sparks everywhere. So that was fun. He was sideways digging up and climbing. just makes a good point. I should see if we have footage on our dash cam, I'll add it into this video.
Yeah, I came up most of the way in the center lane as much as I could. Got a little slack in the line right now. I'll leave the slack there if I can. Yeah, hammer down.
At some point he was at a sideways nearing 45-degree angle, just digging. I was sideways digging. He's on the radio going, let's go in the center where the snow is. We got more grip there. As soon as I got slack in the cable, I try to keep the slack there. It's like, okay, I'm doing it by myself. We'll just keep the slack there. Keep digging, and all of a sudden, once again, it just too steep. Couldn't do it myself. Just spinning out. So tow truck and me were just spinning away, both of us throwing sparks. it was an experience. But by the time I got to the top, I had 3.5 hours before I started Kootenay Pass, hours of drive time left. By the time I was at the top, I had actually gone over my hours by half an hour or so.
28 minutes.
Yeah, and in that case, if CVSE goes, hey, what happened here? I can just say, hey, I spun out, got a tow to the top, parked there, and went to bed. The whole time we were waiting for a tow truck, I took those chains that broke, started fixing them, and then the grader came down and asked if we were all right, if somebody was on the way. Really nice of him. And then when he came back, he was going down the hill, and he came back up the hill. He was dragging all these extra chains with him. I only lost one set. He was dragging up like 4 sets. So I took those 4 sets. They were all broken too from other trucks, and started taking links out of them. So I now have 3 triples and 2 singles. I still have 2 broken chains hanging that I didn't have time to keep working on. So I might be able to make 1 more single out of that. I'm not sure. I just ran out of time. So I've got enough chains to still be legal in Canada. I am not legal in Washington with this setup, so I'll have to fix that 1 set of chains there into a set of singles, and then, well, there's 2 sets hanging there, but with the 2 of them together, I should be able to make a set of single, and then we'd be legal in Washington again too. So, well, we're good. People ask why I carry so many spare chains. This is why. This is why.
Yeah.
Destroyed those chains. It's foggy today, but yesterday when we were stuck there, spun out, I was in front of the truck because that's the safest place for me to work on chains. Nobody from behind me is going to hit me, and oncoming is in the other lane. So I was working in front of the truck, still with full reflective gear. And then just looking at the stars when everything went dark, no vehicles around. The stars were just so vibrant, absolutely beautiful. I always wondered why sometimes I catch up with trucks. Now that I've driven a Packard engine for a bit, I understand why guys go down a lot slower than me. Even if you have an engine with similar horsepower, engine brakes themselves are still very different. I know when I was in Kenworth, that Packard engine was very similar horsepower to this, but the engine brakes, I had to go 10-15 kilometers slower depending on the hill. Cummins have the best engine brakes, I hear. I'm starting to believe it. So if you live in the mountains, why would you go get anything else than a Cummins? Because you need your engine brakes so often. Chew on a granola bar here. Just got me. I've got a quarter tank of fuel. I don't know if I can make it to Cranbrook before fueling up. Or should I just fuel up here in Creston? How far away is Cranbrook from me? 130 kilometers. Yeah, we could easily wait to Cranbrook to fuel up. As long as we have a quarter tank by the time we get to Creston, I'll go to Cranbrook. If we have less than a quarter tank, I'll fuel up here in Creston. Yeah, and today morning I was fixing chains again.
Highway 3.
Because the chains I threw on, the spares, I lost 3 links in those. Because we were once again, both of us spinning like crazy. And tow truck had brand new triples on it, and he broke a link. Oh, mud flap. Why is there a mud flap there? Because somebody went down the hill with chains on. Because he's going downhill going, oh, I don't need, this is nice here, I can go faster. Starts driving faster. The centrifugal force makes the chains really spin out really high. So, how do I explain this? Take a merry-go-round and tie a rope to it and see what the rope does. Does it just keep dragging around in a circle, or does it stick straight out? So the chains start really bowing like a big rainbow, and they start hitting your trailer, they start hitting your mud flaps. So that's why if you start going quicker, you're gonna rip stuff off. I removed my mud flaps. It is legal to drive without mud flaps as long as you have your trailer attached. So my mud flaps are removed. They're easy enough to reattach if I drop the trailers, I'll reattach the mud flaps. The mud flaps that were in front of the tires are not a legal requirement. I went to the shop and removed those as well. Because even driving slow like I do, eventually you'll have a chain link break, and if that link catches a mud flap, it's tearing that off too, so you don't even have to drive fast to tear off mud flaps. Learned that very quickly. My first winter, it's like bang, 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 bang. I'm like, I gotta pull over and check it. Sure enough, I've destroyed the mud flap. I'm like, okay, note to self. Do what others do and remove the mud flap. So that's the first time I have not been able to make it up a mountain with full chains on. It wasn't for the lack of trying. I tried. Man, did I try. But once the truck stops moving and all you're going to do is dig holes in the pavement, there's no point of doing that. So you may as well just stop and wait for a tow truck. Yeah, at the end there, I was getting slow enough that the whole front steering wheel, the front end of the truck would just slide right into the side of the snowbank. The snowbank was good to keep us there, but at that point, the road is so slippery that I just slide sideways. You know it's slippery. Just solid black ice.
You couldn't even walk.
No, you couldn't walk on the stuff. You'd wipe out. And when a tow truck came out, he almost ate it. He just goes, it's slippery here. I'm like, yeah. You can't walk on this stuff. You got to walk on the side where there's a little bit of snow. You can't walk in the lanes. And I was not driving in the lanes. I was driving in the center of the highway, trying to stay in the snowier area. But even then, they've done such a good job of clearing it during the day that there's just no grip. Chain-up lights were on, but there were very, very, very few trucks coming up there with chains on. I saw truck after truck passing us, no chains. They were all single trailer, a lot of them were empty. They could have got huge fines for not throwing chains on, but honestly, with that kind of surface, I would have probably been better off not stopping for chains, keeping the momentum, and just keep driving with these really good winter tires.
Well, the ice started right after the chain.
The ice started immediately after the chain up area. I had no chance of getting momentum. If I had chained up earlier, further down the hill, I would have had a fighting chance. I would have had momentum. And of course, I closed the one lane down. It was just like this, 2 lanes. So when I wasn't outside, when I was in the truck, I'd be on the radio. Every time a truck would come up behind us, I'd go, no headlights from the front, hammer down. At least I spun out in a spot where there's a straightaway in front of me, and behind me there's a corner, but I could see the lights coming from a long way away. So I had always lots of warning. Time zone change ahead, or set your whatever. Time zone change. I don't know what time they stop unloading where we're headed to. That's going to be a problem. Now I don't have enough hours to make it there to unload in time. I think I'll get there around 4. Likely they're going to stop at 3 or 3:30. But I'm not going to be in a rush on this kind of surface over here. The guy in front of us is going a little bit slower than we would be going, but what's the point of trying to pass him? Let's just follow him down on a slippery road like this. It's getting less slippery down here. There's no black ice or anything like that. But there's still a chance a corner could be slippery, so why would you risk being aggressive? Even though I know I'm in a crazy rush, why rush? I'd rather be safe than rushing.
So after all the graders and the gravel trucks, everybody should.
Yeah, after the first grader drove by, he must have radioed the yard, because after that they graveled the road like crazy. They had 3-4 gravel trucks come and gravel the road after he graded. He actually had this blade that digs up the ice and stuff. He took that and really dug up the ice on the road, and then they went and sanded it like crazy, like they're doing right here. I'm not sure why they didn't put the beet juice stuff down. It was plus 4 degrees? Plus 4 degrees, it should, oh no, it was freezing up there. Maybe it was minus 4. That sounds more right. I saw a 4.
Cold up there.
Definitely got a little cooler. It wasn't cold, but it was definitely cool. Well, it was freezing. And that beet juice apparently works till minus 12, so if they had sprayed a bunch of that, maybe it would have never been slippery. Yeah, I don't know if they can store it up here. Yeah, maybe it's too cold to store it up there to use it.
We'll have to haul it up as soon as that one.
On the way now. It's a beautiful day. Feels chilly in here. Maybe because the engine's getting cool because we're just going downhill. The engine's not working hard. get to the prairies. We'll get to the prairies. There's no snow in the prairies, apparently. We'll see. Because of the way the snow gets pushed up the mountains, we have a lot of snow here in BC, and then on the leeward side of the mountains, if you remember your science class, that's a desert after the mountains. So Calgary, Edmonton, Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, they don't get snow, they don't get rain, just almost desert. When they do get snow, it's a snowstorm with a blizzard. I think the road's melting down here because I'm starting to get a little muck thrown at me. Well, we're at the bottom of Kootenay Pass now and into Creston here. I guess we got a little way to go, but pretty much at the bottom now. I'm just glad to be off the mountain. I'll call dispatch down here and let them know exactly what happened, because all I've done is satellite messages, so with evening dispatch, so I'll talk to day dispatch today and see what time we can get unloaded. Appears it's snowing here. Just looked it up online, said that it's just in this area. We won't have to deal with a snowstorm too much. And not very often you see a train parked at the top of that bridge. Scale is open. Snow is definitely sticking on the road. I think if it wasn't for the truck in front of us, our lane would look like the other side. I wasn't expecting to run into this. It's beautiful, and the roads are still good, so it's plus 1 degree Celsius here, so.
Turn left at the stop sign.
Let's see what the scale house says. If for some reason they do a random pull me over and do an inspection, we're not unloading today. Talk to dispatch. If I run a little bit late, make sure I let them know they stop unloading at 4. My ETA is 4. So, but if I'm running a little bit late, call dispatch, let her know, and they're going to actually stay late for me about 15, half an hour. So if I'm running a little bit late, they'll stay a little extra to unload me. So, but if anything goes wrong, I have to still fuel up. I'm going to fuel up in
Forest Service Road, then take the first right.
Fuel up in Cranbrook. But if anything goes wrong, anywhere I get pulled, like a scale that pulls me over for a random inspection type of thing, it doesn't look like they're doing inspections today, so should be good. But if anything does like that, I'm not making delivery today. But if everything goes perfectly smooth and this snowstorm doesn't get worse, we should make the delivery today. Weather girl tells me there's only snow here, so it should clear up. But it's beautiful, the snow, big flakes like this. I'll be 5,500 on the steers. 15 on the, no, it'll be, yeah, 15 something on the drives, 22 on the bridge, 16 something on the pup. No, I didn't actually do the math, just a rough estimate. $5,530. 15,800. 21,700, so 20,700. And 16,400. So the bridge was a little lighter than I thought. All the rest were pretty darn accurate.
In 200 meters, turn right on Highway 3.
I was trying to debate between the drives, saying 15 something or 16. So, yeah, they're all exactly where I thought. The drives are about 1,000 kilograms, or the bridge is about 1,000 kilograms lighter than I thought I was. But other than that, we're
turn right on Highway 3.
My rough guess was good. If I had pulled out the calculator and done the math with a PSI gauge, I would have been closer. See, just going through that scale ate up 2 extra minutes. So every time you have to stop in a scale, that's 2 minutes less time you have to make the delivery. Some scales are much worse, where they're out of the way and you have to loop around if there's a lot of vehicles. Are Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a sign up there, and they're sitting in the car in a pullout. What? Are they going to get a lot of disciples out of that? I don't know what they call their followers. Okay, whatever. I've talked to Jehovah's Witnesses before and stuff. Some of them are really aggressive, pushing. Other ones are quite easy to talk to. It's hit and miss. There's some good people in their community. Some really good people in their community. Some people are so close-minded, their way or the highway. It's not even worth talking to them. So I don't mind having debates as long as the other person's open, willing to have a fair debate. Quite enjoy it when people tell me what they believe, and then I can say what I believe, and then we can go, what's the differences, right? Two pump Pauls. Paul has 2 pumps. 2 fuel pumps. Don't know why the name is Two Pump Pauls, but Yak Motel, not hotel, motel. Road? Where's the road? It's white. So yesterday, another guy was loading in front of me, going to Lethbridge, same place as I was going. He just goes, I looked online, Kootenay Pass is white, I'm taking the ferry. I just go, I don't take Kootenay Pass. He just goes, you're going to beat me there, but I'm taking the ferry. I'm not taking Kootenay Pass. I think he'll beat me. Most of the time, Kootenay Pass will always be faster. Yesterday, that was not the case. Logging truck went around these corners pretty quick, huh? Flakes are getting smaller here. Yak Bridge, Moy River. Eastbound we go. We're still headed for those prairies. Made it to the foothills. Coming out of Crow's Nest Pass and almost to the prairies. Lots of cloud. A little blue though there. A little blue, but looks like we're driving more into the darker stuff. Although just mentioned that way in the background seems there's blue sky there too. So
It's a very bright trail.
I still think we'll make it there around 4ish. Had a couple of stops, construction and stuff. Apparently as soon as I start hitting record, my throat just tightens up and says, nope, don't want to talk. So, reading through your comments and stuff, you guys say you like the longer videos. If you get bored of it, just fast forward a bit. That's a good point. If you find boring sections, just speed it up a bit. Also, lights flashing, which means it'll be very windy. Up ahead, northbound anyway. We're eastbound. Is he pulling over? So wind gusts of what? You pulled over and now you're back on the road. Wind gusts of 102. 102.
I wouldn't travel that highway.
Why'd you pull over and then pull out again? I would, at this point, not suggest traveling that highway.
It might be noon here wandering on the highway today.
Maybe it's quickly rerouting. Maybe. Oh, he's going to take it, though. He's turning.
Maybe he wants to see what I
He maybe wants to see what 102 kilometers hitting you from the side feels like. We're not headed that way anyway, but I wouldn't be going down that highway right now. He will be. Highway 22 versus Highway 2. Actually, I'll never take that highway with a full load. If I'm running empty, I'll take that highway if the wind's not super high.
That frontier that
102 kilometers. Not the highest I've seen it, but it's definitely up there. The other thing some of you guys mentioned was to shoot, not shoot wide angle. Use narrow angle and it wouldn't feel like I was speeding on the road. And you're right, I could do that. The only reason I bring up the speeding thing is because you guys bring it up every now and then that I'm driving too fast and stuff like that. But you would see a lot less of the environment around me. If I went narrow angle, you would see a lot less of the beauty around me. You would just see the highway in front of me, right? So you would see very little of my hood. So I'll try to shut up about the wide angle, not speeding thing, and not bring that up. But yes, that's a good point. If I shot narrow angle, it wouldn't feel like I was speeding. One of you guys said that when I did the winter in the Okanagan video, you were holding on around the corners to see if we'd make it around the corner. It's like, well, I wasn't going that fast around the corners. I was going quite leisurely. Hadn't even occurred to me that I was going fast, but it certainly feels like it on the video. And that's okay. Pincher Creek area, a land of wind farms. Just like that, we're in the prairies. Lots of rolling hills from here forward. Yeah, we've driven right up to the windmills, or the wind turbines. Those things are huge. Absolutely huge. Just one of those fins on those turbines, propeller, I don't know, whatever you call that part, just one of those fins, I'd say they're about 8 feet, 9 feet wide at the base, at the round base. And when you see them on a semi-trailer, they're super, super, super long loads. They have to have guide vehicles. Just one fin. Absolutely massive. You definitely feel like a dwarf when you go walk up right up to them and go, these things are massive. From here they look pretty small, but when you walk right up to them, it's like, whoa. So we kind of stayed on schedule, fueled up in Cranbrook. We've done our last load secure. Yeah, there's definitely some blue sky out there. Different kind of clouds for sure, less stormy looking. Jess did say there was no snow here. I see some snow, just to clarify. But there's not much snow here, is there? That's because we're just coming up over the mountains and we're on the leeward side of the mountains. They often have droughts here. How they can even grow crop here, I don't know. Here, Montana, there's not a lot of moisture.
The article not too long ago, there's like only 4 crops that can grow here. There's that many of them.
There's very few crops that need low moisture, and they also don't do any tillage. They do not do any tillage. There's no plowing, no cultivating, nothing. You do direct seed and try to they find seeders that do the least damage to the soil, just to get the seed in the ground, seal it up. We don't want to lose any moisture when seeding. Every drop of snow you get in the winter, you want to keep that in. So there's a lot of wheat and stuff like that growing here. Soybeans and stuff like that. Those mountains are looking pretty spectacular there. To the south, to the right-hand side. I don't know if you guys can see them, but Waterton Park. I see the Waterton Park mountains, and they're looking quite beautiful right now.
Sugar beets and potatoes.
I don't see sugar beets and potatoes here. Further east, where you start getting a little more moisture, then you start getting sugar beet and potatoes. But over here, right after the mountains, as you get through Saskatchewan, once you hit Manitoba, you get a lot more moisture. Saskatchewan gets very little moisture too. So there's kind of ribbons here and there that get more moisture, and that's where you start planting your potatoes and sugar beets. It is definitely windy out here. You're gonna get cold, but we're going with wind. It's kind of coming from the south, so it's kind of coming from right and crossing across to the left, but it's going the same direction we are. And if it's 102 kilometer wind, anytime we're going with wind, we're pretty much going exactly wind speed. That sure will be good for fuel economy. Yeah, if you want to know which way the wind's coming from, look at the wind turbines.
I always know one of us gets cold.
And when we turn around and come back, then we're going to feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Going back, we will not have fuel economy. We're going to go back empty, which will be better for fuel economy, but we're going to be going back empty. against the wind. Just the cab itself cutting a hole in the air, it's not going to be friendly for fuel economy. But by that time the wind's probably changed. It sounds like we're running empty to Creston. Plan might change by the time we get unloaded, but currently the plan is to run empty to Creston, load there. We'll see. That load would be going to Vancouver, Washington, and then perhaps load in Salem, Oregon. It's a loose plan that they're kind of working on, so plans change so fast, so you can never get attached to a plan.
And then you want to go border and you take.
Probably cross by Creston. I would avoid Kootenay Pass. Yep. Probably backtrack a little bit. Go to that Eastport. Yep. That'd be my guess. Old Man River Reservoir. Pretty darn empty.
You really don't want to do the Kootenay.
Yeah, I don't want to do the Kootenay experience again. Although westbound the road seemed a lot better than eastbound. Very often the westbound's much better than eastbound. Kootenay and the Paulson, both. It's always better going westbound than eastbound. This is beautiful. Change the scenery. I'm enjoying. I love my job. Don't say that often enough, but I just thoroughly love my job. More so when Jess is with. But well, look at all the birds on that field. What is it? Canadian geese? I think they're all Canadian geese. What are you doing up here? I thought you all migrated south.
Probably very confused. Maybe it's the strong winds they can't fly.
Oh, they're building a whole bunch of more wind turbines there. Yeah, they're building a whole bunch. And looking at them, they look a lot bigger than the ones that are here now. So they're actually going even bigger. Wow. Those are going to be massive. It looks like the blades on the one that they're building there right now are almost twice as long as these here. There's a Mexican restaurant halfway between Pincher Creek and Waterton Park. I just thoroughly enjoyed that restaurant. Yeah. We went there a couple times when I worked in Pincher Creek for 2 months, but I took Jess there just for the sake of going to a really good Mexican restaurant. It's authentic Mexican restaurant. The owners they immigrated from Mexico. It's real Mexican food and just tastes so good. We also ate at the restaurant right over here where all these little sheds are. It's not here anymore, but used to be a restaurant there. It's actually good food. The place looked like it was run out in the ground, but it was good food.
I remember the one time that those were real.
Yeah, I remember the first time coming up there. I see the cattle and the horses, and it's like, slow down, there's wildlife or there's cattle on the road. Oh, wait. They're just metal silhouettes. They got me. It's pretty warm over here. It's +4 right now, so it's fairly warm in the prairies. Yeah, the snow is all melted into the ground. The little that they got. I love this section of the world. It's incredibly windy. Other than that, it's just a very unique, different place. Maybe the wind actually adds to that experience. I remember going to Waterton Park and standing on a cliff edge and leaning over the cliff at a pretty good degree angle, and people are like, "What are you doing?" It's like, the wind's pushing me right up. It's fine. Having said that, if the wind had stopped, it wasn't like it's going to be straight down. I probably would have fallen a little bit, but I would have been fine. But it was kind of neat leaning over an edge like that in the wind. Yeah, there's more cranes over here. They're definitely building. There's a completed one there. It's just a huge fins. Another crane there. They got a lot of cranes out here. There's at least 3 cranes building it. You see a lot of bases. You see all these bases set up already. There's going to be a lot more wind turbines here, and they're going to be close to the road, and they're going to be massive. Yeah, there's quite a few. There's a bunch still sitting on trailers. Yeah, the base itself, it seems like they're a wide load. They're quite a huge cylinder. So they must be transported on semis as wide loads.
I wonder from how far away.
Yeah, I don't know where they get manufactured. The base and all of that is pretty simple to engineer, but the actual blades. Yeah, a whole bunch laying down here. The blades are engineered. There's so much science into those blades. It's crazy. Yeah, I see some blades laying there on the ground. Just massively long blades. No, the farmers, they get paid rent for them on the property, yeah. You make a lot of money from that. You make a lot more money from that than you would from your crops, so. There are some very rich farmers in Pincher Creek here, thanks to the wind farm. I'm sure there's farmers going, select me, select me. It's all about wind. They do a lot of studies before they build any. Likely we'll be out of the prairies by tomorrow, or even tonight we might be out of the prairies again. Haven't done the math to see how many hours we have tonight, but we'll be well on our way to Creston tonight. some of these are not running. You often see a couple of them stopped. Must be a maintenance thing. You shut them down to do maintenance on them or something. Some of them they stop because the wind gets too strong. And right now with the wind gusts as strong as they are, maybe they shut some of these down because it's getting too windy in those sections. Because if you ever seen a runaway wind turbine, watch out, they're dangerous. Yeah, 272 how many years ago? Because they're every time we come by, they're building more. Unloaded, headed back to Creston. Sun setting in the Wild West. Couldn't help throw an extra clip. Oh, the light turned off. I noticed the light on my pup was on, and just walking around the trailer, you can hear an air leak. That's a really awesome part about the Tire Max system. If the light comes on, you know you have a tire with an air leak. So I found the air leak. It's not a fast air leak, so we're running with the air leak. Getting the load. Man, is it windy going against wind now. It's crazy. It's such a nice, quiet ride eastbound now that we're going west into the sun. Yeah, the clouds are really unique looking. So tomorrow we'll get loaded first thing in Creston. Once we're loaded, we have to wait. We have to tarp it. So I got to tarp it. By the time I've got it tarped and the tire repaired, the paperwork should be ready for me to cross the border. I think we're burning almost as much fuel as we were burning when we were loaded. I should have paid attention to that. There is a option on the screen here to see how much fuel you're burning on average. The Peterbilts and Kenworths have that much better than this truck. So it says over the last 100 kilometers I've been burning 86 liters of fuel. I guess it's not over the last 100 kilometers. It changes too quick. I wish I had watched that number. Now that we're going downhill a bit, we're burning 39 liters every 100 kilometers. Because it's fuel injected, it's really easy for the truck to compute how much fuel we're burning. Now I wish I had looked at how much we were burning going eastbound with a full load, with a 102 kilometer wind. Now that we're going against a 102 kilometer wind, at least 102 kilometer gusts every now and then. Yeah, it's kind kind of sitting between 45 and 50 now. That road's a little flatter. Definitely pushing a lot of wind out of the way. It's not cold out, it's plus 8 degrees, but wind sure makes it feel cool. Anyway, I couldn't help throwing another little clip at the end here, so thanks guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. We should be able to get to Creston tonight, so we'll see you tomorrow, probably in the US, either in Idaho or Washington, depending on which routing they give me. I'm hoping it's through Idaho. I really don't want to go over Kootenay Pass and Paulson, and as far as the company's concerned, you get much more fuel I burn that way too, even though it's a couple kilometers shorter going that way. I don't know, we'll see what they decide, but I argued for Eastport was the better way to go. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Anyway, you guys rock. Thanks for watching. Back into the mountains we go.